Bob Edwards, despite his name tag, and I got a beer, and thank you so much. Bob's not the only one drinking up here. If you're not familiar with Bob Edwards, you should be. That means you're not watching Saratoga Live, because we have a feature on Bob Edwards we run every day, I think. Bob Edwards, E5 Racing, of course, Good Magic as well. Let's give him a big hand, and thank you.
Thank you.
Talk right into the mic, Bob. They're dying to hear. He's got 2 beers. Cheers. Cheers to Good Magic. Bob, finish your beer. How you doing, man? You excited for the Travers?
We're stoked. We're actually really excited for the Travers to be here. This is a big deal for my family, my wife, my in-laws over here hanging out. They're all Saratogians. Super happy to be here.
It's gotta be. Your wife probably, when she married you, she said, "Can you win the Travers one day?" Probably like the first thing she said to you, right?
No, she said, "Can you get a job?"
And make some money so you can buy a horse and win the Travers.
Cut your hair and get a job.
Well, you certainly cut your hair.
Yeah, indeed.
You got a job and you got your hair, so you did pretty well. And then you got a horse.
Yeah.
So, talk about what the ride's been like with Good Magic. I mean, starts out, in fact, ran his maiden race on Travers Day last year. When he lost, did you ever think, boy, I'll be the favorite, the Travers next year?
Well, as you know, we really don't typically win maidens. So Chad kind of picks a slot, and we won 4 stakes races before we actually run a traditional maiden. So no, it really didn't worry me. We knew we had a lot of horse.
Oh, New Money Honey broke her maiden in the Miss Grillo,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Zendaya won the Intercontinental and just kind of Breeders' Cup.
Sorry,
can you hear me now?
There you go. These guys, they don't want to talk in the mic. I tell them. They don't. He's a little slow.
All rise.
So Good Magic runs in his next race in the Champagne as a maiden. And he ran a great race, but once again lost. At that point, were you thinking Breeders' Cup?
Well, he didn't lose. He just didn't win.
Didn't finish first. Right. Well, it's funny because I talked to Chad right after the race, and he said, should I go to the Breeders' Cup as a maiden? And I said, sure, why not? What's the difference? You ran a winning race, as you say.
So we get to the Breeders' Cup, and as you know, we had Rushing Fall in the Breeders' Cup as well, and Rushing Fall won, and we went back-to-back in Julie turf, Julie Phillies turf, and we had to walk down like 4 flights of stairs, and Del Mar was spectacular. I mean, they treated us well, but it took us like 22 minutes to get there, and Javier's walking circles for a while, and we get to the winner's circle, and we're stoked. We're actually won the race twice, and they hand us a trophy, and we're really excited. The next day, we get down, and Chad goes, don't leave the paddock.
Yeah, he was confident.
He was
very confident.
Yeah, super confident.
We talked to the phone, and we were texting, and he's like, I'm going to win this race. I said, really? Bolt Doro looked pretty good, but he was right. I mean, he ran unbelievably to win that race.
Best line ever.
Not Classic Empire unbelievably, but pretty close.
Best line ever, and people are kind of saying, horse makes its own name. And when the Diera said, Good Magic makes Bolt Oro disappear.
I have 2 beers now. Somebody's trying to take advantage of me up here? What's going on around here?
Double down. I like that. I like that. So now we're even.
Yeah, you probably, but is that your first 2 tonight?
No, this is my first one for the week. We're clear.
I had, less than a week ago, I was having beers with you at your house.
I don't recall.
I will say, actually, one of the nicer nights I spent recently was coming over to your place and sitting around having some beers outside and talking. That was fun.
Once again, I don't recall, but I do enjoy the pleasure of your company, but I don't recall having a beer in my hand.
Yeah, maybe not. It was just me that was drinking. You were probably having water. Bob, you live right by the Oklahoma. How's that going, living by the Oklahoma when your horses come by in the morning?
I love it. There's some good neighbors, some bad neighbors. There's a couple of bad neighbors in here. Actually, it's wonderful. The people there are great. I get up in the morning. I kind of have a cup of coffee if I don't make the track because I missed the turn because I was out way too late with guys to my left, and then you just kind of enjoy the whole scene. But before the track opened, and true story, I'm hanging out at the house, and Rudy Rodriguez calls me up and says, "Hey, I'm breezing your horses. Come over." I go, "Rudy, I have a golf cart. Come get me." He goes, call me back like 5 minutes later. Rudy says, "Somebody stole my golf cart." I go, "All right." He goes, "I'll bring the horses to you." So Rudy breezed the horses and brought them actually to my backyard, which is that's concierge service right there.
Well, it's the beauty of Saratoga, right? I mean, that's what makes Saratoga so great, right? You're right there. I mean, we're all right there, the track, the town. To me, it's just such a magical place, and it's the greatest breeding ground to create racing fans.
Absolutely. We need more fans. Guys, we need more fans. Jump in. Come
like
on.
you.
Tell your friends. This is the best sport in America.
All right.
Look at everybody can get in their cell phone now and start texting their friends. Buy a racehorse, buy a piece of a racehorse, whatever you got to do. This is a great sport.
Because it always works out the way it did for Bob. The first horse you buy will win a Breeders' Cup race, right, Bob?
Well, I know no other way.
I mean, right? It has to be the way it happens because it happened to you.
I think every one of you guys has the same shot I do.
Right. 3 Breeders' Cup races in 2 years of owning horses. We unfortunately have to take a quick break. But thanks for staying with us. I'm very happy to have my friend Bob Edwards from E5 Racing joining us. And we were talking a bit about Good Magic. And it's funny, we were talking a bit off camera, off before we came back on. Excuse us, we're talking here. Keep quiet out there. It's important people up on stage here. Shh. There you go.
We actually want to talk about the Naira beer special right now. Naira is doing a 2-for-1. Anybody wants a drink?
Right.
Make sure you understand. You tell your server Naira is doing the 2-for-1.
Hey,
they want to take care of their fans. Just let them know. Well, 2-for-1 Naira beer special.
Here's the great news.
We're talking about.
Chris K is going to be here next week on the show, and just charge it to him. And Chris will pick up the tab when he comes next week. He'll be very glad to hear that he's entering the show with a big tab. Running your horses, you know, and getting them ready and getting ready for the Breeders' Cup. I mean, you get a little bit under the gun, right? I mean, isn't that the goal? You get 2-year-olds, you want to get there, right?
Absolutely, that's the goal. You get 2-year-olds, you want to go to the Breeders' Cup, you want to have a little fun, you want to go to Churchill this year. Hopefully the weather's good.
I'm thinking of going. Yeah, I am. I like it, Churchill.
You can stay with us. You want to stay with me?
No,
we got a house. You're more than
really?
welcome to stay with me. Yeah, please.
Really? Wow.
I would actually love you to hang out with us.
I will definitely hang out with you. That's a guarantee, and I appreciate that offer. You have horses in Europe as well, right?
I do, yeah. I have a few with Jesse Harrington, and I got a few broodmares out in Ireland.
Broodmares in Ireland. You got in the game 2 years ago, and you've already got broodmares in Ireland. You believe in jumping in, not just just diving in, right?
Did you not read the Coolmore book?
I did not.
All right, just follow the program.
Really? How's Chris feel about this, your wife?
Chris, hello?
How do you feel about the horses in Ireland? She's hiding under the table right now.
Hey, John, turn around with the camera. Get my wife, please.
She loves being on camera, right? So, yeah, they're making a documentary of you. What's up with that, John Hennigan? By the way, everybody's seen First Saturday in May, the documentary. John Hennigan, who made it, over right there.
That guy right there.
Tremendous. If you have not seen First Saturday in May, it's tremendous, isn't it? What are you? What are you? The first Saturday in November?
I'll take it. Not bad, right? You know,
right. That's what they could call it. The Bob Edwards story. First Saturday in November.
Second place, the first Saturday in May, but the first Saturday in November, I kind of take that one. I'll take it.
So, what do you think about the Travers? I mean, you're excited. You have to be excited, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. Yeah, you know, I'm just hoping that Gronkowski's ready for the shed, and Mark's Mark's horse is ready right there. She's looking pretty, and it throws the whole game off, and we got a shot.
Okay, right. Gronkowski chases the filly, and you'll be good.
That's what I'm hoping. Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a really fun race. I mean, it's interesting, and we talked about the other day. He could run as a 4-year-old, Good Magic, right?
Absolutely, he can. Yes.
And now, what do you think? You think it's a good chance he will?
You know, if he stays sound. Now, you know, Chad does a phenomenal job conditioning him. As you know, Chad's a great conditioner. We've got, you know, thus far, you know, we've had no issues with the horse. You know, he's not a big horse, but he's a great mover. He's clean. He's picked up his weight. His flesh is you know, everything about the horse is phenomenal. If you guys have an opportunity to see him on the track in the morning, it's almost like when I explained it to somebody, if you've ever been to the dog races and you see the rabbit kind of run around, that's what he looks like. You can't really see him moving until you kind of see him come around the corner and see him move. He moves so fluid, it's unbelievable.
And how did you get involved with buying him with Barbara Banke from Stone Street?
So, you know, we've been friendly. Leslie's
here? Leslie's here. If we had more time, we'd bring her up here. She loves coming on the radio.
Fortunately, I have a good relationship with our friends at Stone Street, and Leslie's a wonderful person, and kind of her and Barbara and John Moynihan reached out to Mike Ryan and said, look, we'd love to do something with Bob.
Mike is your bloodstock agent.
Mike is my bloodstock agent, who's done a phenomenal job, and we just have a great partnership. It's a great kind of connection. It's more of like a family connection. They're wonderful people, and just blessed to be with them.
We don't have a lot more time, but I want to talk to you about something. You got into racing just a few years ago. How has the whole experience been for you, getting involved in racing and meeting people in racing?
I mean, this is the best social club in America, right? The best people in the world are in this sport. You know, and everybody's got an opportunity to get in this sport. You can get into the syndicate. You can buy a shoe. You can buy a leg. You can buy a horse. Whatever works for you. But this is the best sport in America. It's an opportunity for you to own your own franchise and not be bummed out when you lose in like 13 weeks. You know, if you're a Dolphins fan. So, you know, this is the way to go.
Not that we know any. Are you a Dolphins fan?
I am a Dolphins fan. Yes.
Really? That's tough.
It's tough. It's tough.
But you take
another one. Dolphins fan. You know what it's like, right? So buy a horse, dude. You'll be a winner. I guarantee you. Buy a horse, you're a winner.
Bob, I can't thank you enough for joining us, and we obviously wish you and Good Magic great luck this weekend and everything going for you. And thanks so much for everything you've done in the game, and thanks for joining us. Bob Edwards from E5 Racing. Stay with us. We come right back.